why she doesn't want you to succeed. Why women want men to fail. There's three major reasons for this, and this is very important. And make no mistake, most women, many women out there, want men to fail. At least they want men to fail in the way that they want them to fail. I'm not saying they want men to just completely go extinct, because then they couldn't use us, right? Most women view men as utility, as a means to an end, right? And particularly in the West, right? There's no cherishing or honoring of a man in the West. Men in general in the West are seen as tools, a means to an end. And this is really a fundamental tenet of feminism, right? And feminism has done that a lot. But as you'll see, as I begin to talk about these three things, you'll see that it's also part of their nature. So what are the three things? What are the three major reasons why women want men to fail? Why they want us to exhibit weakness? Why they want us to be lower than them? Or at least be successful so that they can use us. And again, you will see this in marriage, you will see this in culture, you will see this in mainstream female behavior. Everything that they are, gearing themselves up for, everything that they're putting themselves out there for as a diva, as a Medusa, or as a seductress, right? In the red pill community, we know these women are succubuses, right? But they don't want to call themselves a succubus because that's too obvious. They want to call themselves a diva, a Medusa, right? All this, I'm a bad bitch, I'm powerful, I'm independent. All this code word for the fact that they want to utilize men, sucker us in, and use us as tools, right? It's all for themselves, it's all for their own utility. So what are the three reasons, or what are the three main aspects of women? Why do they want us to fail? Why do they want us to be weak? Why do they want us to be useful idiots, useful tools? Number one is control. They want to control us, right? Women like things to be under control. They like it when things are in their power. They want to be in control. And control actually is the main aspect of the next 2 points, right? So the real 2 points plus control are, number one, feminism, okay? Feminism, women competing with men, okay? Number two, biological imperative, right? They have a natural biological imperative. This has to do with hypergamy. This has to do with picking the best mate, right? It's in their best interest to weed out weakness, right? So this is why, deep down, even if a woman is dating you and she sees weakness in you, she's glad she saw that weakness in you. In a sense, she's not glad because now she's got to dump you and find a guy who's stronger than you. But in another sense, she's glad she saw that weakness in you because now she's like, okay, I can weed this guy out, right? And if anything, she's sad. A lot of times women are sad after breakups simply because of the time that they put in, and simply because now they got to put in more time and go find another guy, and that's a process, right? It's a process for a man to get ready for a relationship, meaning he's got to figure out how to be a player, he's got to figure out how to say all the right words, he's got to figure out how to be confident. This is why there's a million YouTube channels out there who are teaching young men these aspects: how to be confident, how to talk to girls, how to text her, how to play hard to get, how to be alpha, how to be masculine, how to have a masculine frame. All these things, all these advice and motivation and self-improvement channels out there that really just want your money. The core thing that they're teaching you is how to be stronger, how to make more money, how to be more alpha, how to be in better shape. All these things equal what? Reproduction. All these things equal what? Giving you the best ability to sleep with a woman, giving you the best ability to get a relationship so that you can fulfill your biological imperative, right? That's on the male side. On the female side, what are they trying to do? The women are the choosers. Women are the gatekeepers to sex. What is sex? Sex is reproduction. Sex is procreation, right? Now you could say, oh well, people, today they just have sex for fun, and they just sex is nothing. It's just something to do. So that doesn't make sense. No, because Women are still choosing men, even if it's for fun, even if it's just because I'm turned on, they're still choosing men with those aspects. Meaning that's essentially biologically what they are attracted to sexually. Okay? It's the strength, it's the ability to provide resources, it's the masculinity, it's the confidence. Ultimately, she wants, what that means is she wants the best possible male with the least possible weakness. Okay? So number three is a biological imperative. Number one is control. Number two is feminism. Control and feminism are pretty much hand in hand, but control can also work for the biological imperative because women, again, are the gatekeepers to sex. Women are the ones who say yes or no to the guy sliding up in between those legs, right, and potentially getting her pregnant, right? Any woman going into a sexual relationship, most of the time, they are willing to have a guy's baby. Most of the time, when she essentially opens her legs for you, she's essentially saying she's willing to have your baby, particularly if it's in a relationship. That's essentially what she's saying. Make no mistake. Don't think, oh, we live in this porn culture. Yes, we do. Oh, we live in this hookup culture. Yes, we do. But again, she is still choosing you on that basis. I would have a kid with this guy. That is in the back of her mind. Whereas in the back of the guy's mind, even though essentially his dick is getting hard because he wants to spray, because he wants to, you know, why are guys spraying on women? It's because we find her sexually attractive enough to procreate with, right? It's different for a woman because a guy, a lot of times, can jump around from women to women and have these easy sexual conquests. But the problem is, as far as society is concerned, our biological imperative would say, I want to spray as much women as I can to spread as many babies as I can. That's what our balls are saying. But society's saying, nope, you're going to get hit with 18 years of child support. Nope, you got to take care of that one kid. Society says that. That developed over time. When we were first created by Adam and Eve, or whatever you want to call it, however we got here, we just wanted to spray it inside as many women as we could to spread seed so that we could, multiply our human race. Now, society is such, it's so big that you're forced to take care of one kid. Well, you're forced to take care of any kid that you sire, any kid that you bring into this world with your DNA. You are forced to financially take care of him. So now, men don't want to take care of the kids. However, the women are still trying to have the kids because they can go to the state, they can go to DSHS, they can go to Section 8 and get on housing, get on welfare, get benefits, and then the state becomes the surrogate daddy. And women know this, and many of them are okay with this. I don't know if I said most of them. But that doesn't mean that women out there are still not trying to get pregnant. So don't think that I'm thinking, oh, every time a woman has sex, she wants to get pregnant. But that is essentially what she's saying, is this guy is good enough genetically that if I got pregnant, I would be okay with replicating those genes. Now, you could say abortion, true. Women do have abortions. So what she's saying with abortion, she's saying, no, most of the time it's, I don't want to have a baby. I'm not ready. Go study the statistics for abortion. I believe it's 74% of women who had abortions say, I'm not ready. That's what they say. Go Google it. I'm not ready. What is that? That's selfish. That's a selfish, solipsistic decision. She's not saying the guy isn't ready to pay. She's saying, I'm not ready to raise a child. Again, 74%. So what does that tell you? It tells you that she's still choosing the guy based on his ability to reproduce strong, profitable genetics, right? So essentially, this is what it comes down to. This is why women are having sex with men, because they view his genetics strong enough. And what does that mean? It means he has options. It means it's called pre-selection, right? Pre-selection is she views you as somebody who can get with many multiple women. And what that means is that you have desirable genetics. This is why guys will often take a lot of pictures with women. They'll go out and, be seen with a lot of women, because what that means is called pre-selection. You can Google that. It's a PUA concept, kind of, but it's also a biological concept. It's essentially science. When a woman sees you with a lot of women, she views you as a high-value male. So when when you have a lot of options, and when you learn to be a player, when you learn how to talk to these women as if, hey, I'm out here banging different women. I'm out here. I got options. I got choices. She views you as a high quality male. Therefore, she wants to have your baby. Essentially, when a woman has sex with you, it means, yes, she's horny, and yes, she thinks you're physically attractive, but it's also she wants to have a baby. Again, 74% of women having abortions is because they feel they themselves are not ready, not because the father's not ready. Okay, this is statistics. This is Planned Parenthood statistics. You could say, oh, well, what about the pill? Okay, that's true, the pill. The pill is good as far as, saving, a lot of unwanted pregnancies. And a lot of women these days are out here using the pill and sleeping around indiscriminately. But again, she's still not choosing weak men to sleep with. Not really how it works. She's always looking for that strength, right? So this is the biological imperative. This is why women want men to be weak, so they can weed us out. So our job can be made easier, right? Her job can be made easier, which is, I need to weed out these weak males. These guys are not going to get to reproduce. This is why a lot of times if you go online and you say something about, feminism, I don't like feminism. What do women say when they come out of the woodwork to attack you? What's the number one thing they say? Oh, no woman would ever want to sleep with you. Don't have kids, right? These are the ad hominem insults. When you go on Facebook or Twitter or wherever, YouTube, in the comment section or whatever, and you say some kind of red pill truth, women will come out of the woodwork to attack you. You say something like, oh, I don't like that women sleep around or something. Women will come out and say, oh, well, no woman would want to sleep with you either. This is the number one insult they use. Why? Because the most important thing to them is sex. Because sex is the center of their existence. Sex is how they self-actualize in life. They are sexy, and they're validated for being sexy. Therefore, they are valid, right? You'll see a lot of times with a lot of women who are not very attractive, they seem very lost, right? I've seen this a lot. And they try to maybe self-actualize or make themselves happy through writing or poetry or painting or photography or some kind of doing, but they're never really fully satisfied. The happiest type of women are the type of women who are very attractive, because a woman's self-worth and her self-actualization 9 times out of 10 is if guys want to have sex with her. Then she feels like, hey, I matter. I'm important because guys want to have sex with me. I'm valid. This is why we call it validation. She's seeking attention for validation. Very rarely will a woman seek attention through her, her comedic skills or her intelligence. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. I'm not saying that can't happen. It does and it can. But it's mostly rare. Most of the time, women either self-actualize through a relationship, having children. A lot of times, if they're less attractive, or if they're more attractive, they self-actualize, and they have self-worth and they feel valid. When many guys are trying to have sex with them, when many guys are paying attention to them and giving them essentially validation, because hey, I'm sought after. That's what that is. Their confidence. I used to make a lot of videos in the past where I was talking about that female smirk, that undeserved sense of self-accomplishment, where the hot girl walking around, she's just happy for no reason. She just got this smirk on her face for no reason. She just has this kind of confidence about her. What that is she knows guys want to have sex with her. She knows guys want to. Every guy wants to have sex with her. And imagine how that feels. I'm hot. Every guy on this planet wants to have sex with me. Imagine how narcissistic you would get, how arrogant you would get. And this is why women are out there walking around and they're narcissistic and they're arrogant, because they go on Plenty of Fish, they go on OkCupid, they go on Tinder, Bumble, etc., eHarmony, Match.com, whatever, right? And they get flooded with thousands and thousands of messages. Hey baby, how are you? Oh, what's going on? Hi, I'm Paul. Hi, I'm Greg. Hey, do you want to go on a date? Imagine how big-headed that would make you as a man if just flooded with women. Just flooded. You just have hundreds and thousands of women who are messaging you, right? How would you feel? You'd feel amazing. You'd be like, whoa, this is crazy. So And by the way, if that ever does happen, here's what you do. You don't respond very quickly. You take your time to respond, because if you respond very quickly, it tells them that, hey, this guy, he's not getting any other options. I'm the only woman who responded to him, and therefore he's jumping right on it. That's why you got to be careful how fast you text a woman. This is why guys are always talking about don't text her back too fast, wait 3 days to message her, all these kind of tricks, because what is essentially at the core of that? If you text her back too quick, it means she's your only option. It means you're not busy. All you got is her, and she feels like, oh, well, he doesn't have any other options, so he's not high value. That's just a basic secret. That's a basic hack, right? Okay, I think that pretty much covers the biological imperative, and of course, this is at its core hypergamy, right? This is what that is. It's hypergamy, right? If she's weeding out weakness, right? She's this is the game. This is essentially the bare bones, the nuts and bolts of game. Is that you need to come across high value, because if you don't, that's weakness, and she doesn't want to procreate with you. This is essential biological, basic biology, right? So that's on that's on the female nature side, the natural side. Let's talk about control and feminism. And these two, control, like I said, is both feminism and biological imperative. They want to control the board. The number one thing that women hate is lying. They hate liars. They hate guys who lie. The number one reason why women hate liars is because they do not want to procreate with a guy who has lower value than she thought that he had. This is why guys fake it. This is why guys, put on a veneer of confidence, or, wear these cool clothes and peacock and all this stuff. That's faking it. These guys, Mystery and all these old school puas who took this peacocking theory, that's faking it. You're faking confidence, right? You're faking natural value, essentially. When you peacock, you are essentially faking natural value, right? So this is why women want to control that. And this is why women hate liars, because if you're lying, you are faking your value. And so therefore, I was going to have a baby with that guy. He was a liar. He's really not as high value as I thought. But essentially, who's using who, right? Is she using you, or are you using her? She's trying to act like, oh, you just want to use me for sex. But the real truth of the matter is she's trying to use you for a baby. She's trying to use your high value for a baby. You got to remember that it's all about high value. So this is why women hate liars, because the liars are essentially lying about their high value. So if she had a baby with you, and you're not as high value as she thought you were, because you were faking it, and she believed your fake story or your fake persona, she would have a baby with somebody who's not high value. This is why women hate weakness. This is why women hate poor guys. This is why women hate guys who aren't very attractive, because they do not want to have babies with us. Quite literally, they want our genetics and our seed to die out, because we are not high value. The irony of this is, a lot of times, women have, like if you look at Brad Pitt's parents, for instance, they're not attractive people. I mean, I'm not saying they're ugly, but they're just normal, regular-looking people. The irony is, women really do believe that if you're attractive, you will have an attractive baby, and it's not always the case. A lot of times, two very attractive parents have ugly babies. It happens because genetics is kind of a cruel, a cruel thing about nature. Genetics doesn't really work like that a lot of times. And this is why a lot of times, attractive parents, they have an ugly kid, and they actually won't love the kid that much. It's pretty messed up. It's pretty shallow and materialistic, but that's another story. All right, so that's control. And again, control, it has to do a lot with the biological imperative, but it's also feminism. Women are competing with men. What is feminism in its essence? Feminism in its essence is women competing with men. That's essentially what it is. It's not about female equality per se. It was at the very beginning. First wave feminism really was about, women they just wanted a right to vote. They wanted a right to have a voice in society. They wanted the right to work, and they got that. But second and third wave feminism came. And some say we're even in fourth wave feminism right now. I don't know exactly what that's defined as, but I certainly know what second and third wave feminism is, and it's extremely insidious for our society. So particularly second wave feminism was probably one of the worst things to happen in my estimation to any society ever, outside of World War. It's extremely insidious, extremely negative, and essentially it's a supremacist cult. Second wave feminism. Second wave modern feminism now is essentially a gender supremacy cult. I say this all the time in my videos. Modern feminism is essentially a gender supremacist cult, right? It's female supremacy, right? So what is feminism? Well, I should say modern feminism now in its essence. It's women competing with men, right? Women competing with men for power and dominance in the social and financial and political hierarchies, right? That's essentially what feminism is. So why do women want to control this? Why do women want to control men? Because when you control men, you have all the power. It's a power grab, right? So essentially, how do women do this? They do it through sex, right? This is why sex is even more hard to get than it ever has been in history, because now women realize, well, I can't beat men intellectually, I can't beat men physically, I can't compete with men in the job market, so what do? I have to use sex. I have to use sex as a power tool, and you will essentially see this in a big way in the 20th century, where women figured this out and they realized this. Hey, wait a minute, if I dress sexy, I show cleavage, I dress a certain way, I will get jobs. I will beat out other men. I will, and even, hey, you know what? I have to maybe sleep with the boss. I have to sleep with the CEO. I gotta give him favors. Okay, well, it's that, or go work at McDonald's. It's that, or compete with these guys on an equal playing field, which I can't intellectually. I can't, as far as my actual talent is concerned. I can't compete with men. So what do? I sleep with the boss. I use my sexuality. I show cleavage, and then I have power, right? So this is how modern feminists have learned and adapted to use their sexuality, to use the power of their sex, essentially luring men through physical means to do what they want, whether it's give them a job, give them money through OnlyFans or sugar daddy websites, simp for them, because there's plenty of white knight blue pill beta boys out there who are coming to the woman's defense online or here or there. Plenty of them. They're out there trying to defend her honor when she essentially has no honor, right? So whether it's social, cultural, financial, political, whatever, she is utilizing sex to control men, and essentially this is part of why women like it when men are weak. They want men to be weak so they can rule over us. Again, it's all about power. And this begs the question, right? As I finish up talking about that, this begs the question, why? Why do you need power? Why do you need to control men? Why do you need to control the dating market? Why do you need to control the social, political, financial, economic, right? Why do you need to control these systems, right? The only answer is that it's essentially just their narcissism. It's essentially just their own arrogance, right? We could live in a very harmonious system. We could live in a very, system where, we work together and things like that. But I believe a lot of it also is they know that men are more powerful. They know that men are the leaders, are supposed to be leaders. That's how we are essentially designed. And they are essentially at their core submissive, and they don't like it, right? And a lot of it, again, is feminism, because feminism has poisoned young women. Most feminists get radicalized between the ages of 18 to 22. That's when they're most vulnerable to the feminist indoctrination. And where is the feminist indoctrination mostly coming from? The universities, the colleges, the schools. Why? Because young minds are impressionable. So anybody who wants to ruin the family unit, anybody who wants to damage the interdynamics and interpersonal relationships between men and women is going to brainwash through propaganda and indoctrinate through propaganda the young minds. So where does that happen? It's got to happen at the universities, because 18 to 22 is the most impressionable years. So what do these Marxists do, these communists, these radical feminists? What do? They get jobs at universities as professors, and they subtly inject the poison of their radical feminist ideals into these young women's minds. And as I say in many of my videos, feminism, particularly radical feminism, is based and founded on a bunch of lies, a bunch of myths, and what's the word? Oh gosh, I went blank. Misinformation. There we go. Actually, I shouldn't say misinformation. I should say disinformation. Misinformation is information that is essentially in error. Disinformation is information that is purposely in error, meaning essentially lies, right? Lies. Disinformation. Disinformation is modern feminist go-to. It's the modern feminist modus operandi, using lies against men. Okay, that's essentially what it is. That's essentially the modern, you know, way that radical feminism propagates its, its insidious indoctrination through disinformation. What are the lies? Oh, men are toxic by nature. Masculinity is toxic, right? Oh, there is such a thing as a patriarchy, and the patriarchy is evil. It's inherently evil, and men are bad, and rape culture, and all this stuff, which so much of that stuff has been debunked, blown out of the water. I've got statistics. I can show you how this happened. They changed the wording for rape, in the CDC, right? They changed the wording for it, and so where men can't be raped. Instead, it's like unwanted touch, or they call it unwanted penetration. If you're really up on game, you know what I'm talking about, and I can show you statistics where they've done this, and I've studied this stuff. They essentially have infiltrated these statistical institutions, and they've made it look like men are raping women more than women are raping men, and that's actually not the case. It's sad. So disinformation and myths and essentially just outright attacks on masculinity is how they're using that as their disinformation to warp and poison these young women. And so therefore, what do these young women want to do after this happens? After they get indoctrinated, they want to control men. They say, oh, well, these men are, it doesn't matter how much they believe it. Maybe many of them do believe it. I've talked to many feminists who are really just lost in the sauce, and they really do believe that men are evil. They really do believe that women are oppressed and all that. And it's the opposite is true. Women are privileged. Men are essentially, oppressed, just not in the way that you would think oppressed. I mean, men are oppressed in the sense that we have to work. We have to go out and make the money, or else we get nothing. Right, and women don't have to do that. Go watch a YouTube video called "The Manipulated Man." It's an audio book read aloud by a woman named Esther Villar. The Manipulated Man. She essentially talks about how women don't have to work. Men are the ones who have the burden of performance in society. All women have to do is, utilize men's success to benefit themselves. Right. So, men are the ones who have all the responsibility, the accountability. Women don't. Women have none of that because they get this out, and the out is, I'm a victim, I'm oppressed, I'm a woman, and feminism taught us that women are oppressed. It's all this disinformation. So what do they want to do as a result of that? They want to control men, right? So this is why women like weakness. They like it because they say, oh, I can control this guy. I can, and so they essentially become predators. They essentially become, predators of control. And they want to rule over men. They want men to be in subjection to them in one way or another. They do not like it when men succeed. They do not like it when men are, powerful, because it means that men are in competition with them. Men become a force to be reckoned with. The only time they want men to be powerful and successful is when they can utilize us for our resources through marriage, or when they can utilize us for procreation, for our children. Yes, they're only choosing powerful men, for the most part, to settle down with. Now, you say, well, what about these weak beta guys, who they settle down with? That's if, a lot of times they have kids from another guy. Alpha fucks beta bucks. They get the alpha seed, beta need, right? They get the child from the alpha, and then they fall back on the beta. This is the ideal now with these women who are warped from feminism. Get the child from the alpha, have the beta provide the resources. This is common. This is what's going on in today's day and age. Or, they settle down with the beta guy, the white knight provider, because he's just easily manipulated. So in that sense, they want him to be weak. Okay, well, he can't leave me like Chad and Tyrone did. All these other guys left me. He can't leave me, so therefore I'm going to utilize control, and I want him to be weak so I can choose him specifically so he won't leave me, so I can have kids. Eventually she'll get bored of this guy, she'll cheat on this guy, she won't respect this guy, they'll have a passionless marriage. I talk about that all the time. Anyway, for sake of time, I got to end it there. Appreciate you guys listening. It's been Jay Lee, Northwest Podcast. Peace.